Hello, James.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you today. Thanks for taking the time. We caught you while you're here in Berlin for the Smile concert playing tonight.
Yeah,
Looking forward to being there, by the
yeah,
way.
me too. I'm quite excited for that.
Yes. Yes, we wanted to have a chat with you and talk a bit about your contribution to our festival, your participation in our festival that's happening in July in Berlin at Gaswerk Siedlung, Gaswerk Music Days. Our motto is radical live music. So we were wondering if you want to tell us about a time, an occasion in your career where you did a pretty radical move or something particularly brave or maybe crazy or yes, is there
Yeah.
anything that ring the bell?
So I thought about this. Like I saw the radical music thing and thought about it a bit. And like it's small. There's being radical has so many different meanings
Juliet.
and all kinds of things. Like in small ways. Like in some ways, I feel that you can't understand music without having understood other music before it. Something like it's everything's a step on the shoulders of the people who came before you and what you encountered and the things you. So you're like radical in like little steps. Like I remember when I started, there was a very conservative, prevailing kind of ethos in British dance music. It felt to me as a kid coming through. And I felt like at that time we felt like young punks, just like doing the opposite, being a bit like people thought this was, beyond the pale, not cool or something. And it's like, no, if you flip it, this is cool and that is beyond the pale. Whatever. Like you can but then really in the history of music that doesn't really seem like a very radical thing. That's what everybody did.
You find out some
Yeah.
years later.
So I was talking to my partner who is smart, and she said to me that the most radical thing you've done, James, is when you quit DJing, because no one does that. Like, and she pointed to the example of Laurent Garnier, who quit DJing, and then it was like 2 weeks later he announced his comeback tour or something. And it is
Not
it's
really
like a
quit.
schism in my life to stop, to like do one thing for like, to devote all my energy to getting good at that one thing as well. And then but also it's like the best thing I ever did because it's so liberating, just like, oh no, I'm a different guy now, I've got different priorities and a different I'm
It's
free.
also a jump and a big opening to something new
Yeah,
to come, right?
yeah,
Like it really makes space.
yeah. And I really enjoyed the adventures I've had with that space since then. Yeah.
It's like live music since then. And
Yeah, and that was the thing that made me decide to make this leap or whatever. That like I discovered it was possible, and that it was so rewarding. Yeah,
and and since when it's been live music, there's been a big deal, a big amount of collaboration and improvisation in yeah in your area, in your action. And we will have you playing with a percussionist on our festival.
yeah.
Who is that?
So it's been this album. Like when I first, I'll give you a long if you want a long.
Yeah, we are happy about that.
Because the whole story is like the reason I realized that live music was fun, so rewarding, was this collaboration. The first thing I did, it was like, it's funny that I'm playing with Tom York's The Smile tonight because 10 years, more or less 10 years ago, that was my first live shows were support for Tom York's other band,
Nice.
Atoms for Peace, when they were doing the like North America tour, and it was quite, like in at the deep end to start my first live show was in my studio, and I invited like 30 friends to come and have pizza and watch us play. And then the second one was like an arena in Philadelphia with 15,000 people.
Big jump.
But it was, yeah, so I had like this, for that whole tour after that Inheritors album, I had Tom Page, a drummer, and me, and then occasionally a sax player. And it was the interplay between me and Tom, and like getting to know him, and the way the songs would change every night, and like different. It's like chaos theory sort of thing. The feedback between two people, you don't know where it's going to go, but if you're like open to respond, suddenly songs have like a new shape that like dips and meanders and it goes off, and you don't know what you're going to get. So it's like it's a
Organic
yeah.
chaos, good.
And then, so I've been through loads of things. And then this album, like I had various of my friends that I've met along the way play on the recordings and kind of do like sessions together, like improvising or whatever. But like I knew I didn't want to tour with, like after Brexit and the pandemic, touring with like 7 people like I did with the Animal Spirits is impossible. Like everything costs twice as much. It's just not gonna. So, but also that I wanted the focus of this record is more electronic and kind of trance inducing and it's kind of hooked around those machine patterns. That's the main thing of it. But I knew it had to be live, so I just decided like whoever I can get for the shows I'm gonna have. Like the main player who's been with me the most, I guess, is this guy Camilo Tirado, who plays tabla on some of the tracks of the album, percussion. And he's like a sort of multi-instrumentalist, kind of super cool. So when it's me and him, he's filling in that kind of end of the space, and it leaves me free to do a different kind of part of the sound. And then sometimes I've been playing with, so tonight it's this guy Chris Duffin, who's a sax player. He's in the band Zam Duo, like XAM Duo, who are a big, like I was a fan of them before I started working with Chris. And he plays like sax and percussion and effects and stuff like that. And then because he's taking up that like melodic solo space and finding spaces in it for like a sax to fit, that means that I can go in and just do like percussion and effects and sub bass and whatever. It's like someone really wise said to me once that when you hang out with a different person, when you meet a different kind of person, that lets you, a different bit of you comes out to meet them. So you get to enjoy all the multitudes that you contain or something. And that's what I feel about playing with all these other musicians, that I get to be a different person.
I mean, it keeps you really lively in terms like it will never be the same show. It leaves you spaces of exploration, and I'm sure there's inspiration also in this sense. And how do these collaborations start? So does it come from the music? There is somebody, you feel there is an element missing, or you like the music of somebody, or and then there's more of a master plan of yours, and this person is invited to fulfill a direction of work, or does it start more in an organic way where you meet with a musician and you experiment together and you find out?
It's kind of, I've done both, really, I guess. Like, yeah, this record, it felt very much like I could hear what I wanted, and I was like saying to, even kind of like writing here's the shape of the part, see what you could come up with musicians, whereas the previous ones were more free and improvised and kind of, but also, so sometimes I feel like this record's my record and I'm hierarchically constructing a product. Not really, but you know what I mean. And then sometimes, for example, there's a Polish clarinet sax player called Vasav Zimpel, who I was a big fan of. It was like the year that the Animal Spirits record came out. My favorite album that year was his collab with Jacob Jolek. It's called Zimpel and Jolek. And it's beautiful, like an amazing record. I was just in love with it. And then my friend Marcus, who was in the Animal Spirits, we were at a show in Holland, and he's like, "Oh, Marcus, Vasav is here. We should go and," he knew Vasav already. And I went to see him, and I went to try and find him to say, "I just love your work." And he was coming to find me to say the same thing.
I love yours too.
So we just kind of...
Let's meet in a studio.
And we did literally just meet. We had like a couple of days in the studio my studio and just like named the tracks after the days. It was just like as long a day. It just happened. It was, and then
that time we met.
Yeah, exactly. And now we've met more days. So much so that we've run out of days to name songs after. So I think that's going to be the next bit of my life. I'm going to do some more things with him together. And that feels lovely because it's like it's not hierarchical, and so it's an equal collaboration. And then that's so freeing. That's like I'm on a footing with him where like I can just stop and let him take the limelight. He can support me in the music as much as I have to support him in it. Which is like a new thing, really is a new thing, because when you play like your solo, I'm the synth guy, shows, then it feels like it's another different way of being. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. I see. Thank you for this. And I was wondering if there's anything in our program that you really looking forward to hearing, or any artist that has been particularly inspiring, maybe also that you met before in your along the way.
There's more than one thing, to be honest, and there's a few things. Like, it's an interesting program to me because it's quite un-London or something. Like, it's like a different angle of music.
So many people come from the UK, almost all the international artists.
Yeah, exactly. And the international circuit, the festival scene can sometimes, some years it feels like, what, did you just get one list of people to share between you? And this is like cool people, but not necessarily like this kind of, I saw them last month at a different festival.
And they come from different directions,
so
really.
Quite excited to the diversity of it is cool, but the person that I'm definitely gonna stay, pack my stuff up, go have a joint, come back, is Romeo Poirier.
Yes.
Got absolutely like that. The Living Room record. Was it last year or was it this year?
I think it was last year or two on Fetish with Jan Jelinek. Yeah.
Such a beautiful record, and I presume since he's in the sort of Jan Jelinek camp that it's going to be this like totally engrossing improvised electronics kind of. It sounds like it will be that.
Yes.
There's someone who like really thinks a lot about
away.
like how to play electronics live. I really love when I go and see someone who's just like, oh, you're really doing it, like that's for real. And so I know Romeo's buddy Jan Jelinek, when I saw him, that was one of those like, okay, I'll just kudos.
Once hearing Jan Jelinek, I thought if that's the music I would hear in heaven, I'm gonna start behaving really well. I mean it. No, well, thank you so much for your time. We bring you back to the concert venue. Time for you to play. We really appreciate.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward very much to this.
Looking forward.
Cool.
Thanks.